Silence is not always golden. Sometimes silence is dangerous. When we remain quiet in the face of what needs to change, we are silently agreeing with the way things are. God has given each of us a voice, a mind, and a heart, not to stay hidden, but to be used for transformation. My friends, the world does not change because we wish for it. The world changes when we rise, speak, and act with courage. Life is a gift from God, and every moment is an opportunity to make it meaningful. We cannot waste this gift by staying silent when truth must be spoken, when kindness must be shared, and when wisdom must be lived. Imagine if the sun refused to shine, if the rivers stopped flowing, if the trees chose silence and never grew, life would collapse. In the same way, when we choose silence in the face of wrong, we deny the purpose for which God created us. Today, let us awaken to the truth that silence is not strength. True strength is the courage to speak for what is right, guided by God's wisdom and love. Your voice is one of the greatest gifts God has given you. Think about it for a moment. Every breath you take, every word you speak, every sound that flows from your heart carries energy that can heal, inspire, or transform. Yet many of us underestimate this blessing. We speak casually, we stay silent when truth must be spoken, and we forget that the power of our voice can change lives. God did not give us a voice just to complain about life or to stay silent in fear. He gave it so we could uplift others, stand for what is right, and bring light where there is darkness. Imagine a mother's voice when she sings a lullaby to her child. The melody may not be perfect, but it carries love that makes the child feel safe and calm. That simple voice has the power to erase fear. Or think of a teacher's voice when guiding students. Those words can plant seeds of wisdom that last a lifetime. Even the smallest encouragement, "I believe in you, you can do it," has the power to push someone forward in their darkest moments. This is the miracle of your voice. You may not always realize it, but your words can become the reason someone keeps going. Now let us reflect. How often do we hold back our voice? How often do we remain silent because of fear? Fear of what others will say, fear of being judged, fear of standing out. We tell ourselves, "It's not my problem," or "Someone else will say it." And in that silence, truth dies. God did not design you to hide your light. When He created the world, He spoke it into existence. That means words carry creative power. If the Creator Himself chose words as a tool to build the universe, then how powerful must your voice be, which comes from the same source? Look at daily life around you. In a workplace, maybe someone is being treated unfairly, but no one speaks up. Everyone knows it is wrong, but silence becomes the easy choice. Silence, however, is not neutral. It is agreement with what is happening. By staying silent, we unintentionally give strength to the wrong. But imagine if even one person stood up and said, "This is not right. Let's treat each other with respect." That one voice could shift the energy of the entire room. That one voice could give courage to others who were afraid to speak. Change begins with a single sound, a single voice. Or consider a family. Many times, people carry misunderstandings or conflicts in their hearts, but no one speaks honestly about it. Parents stay silent, children stay silent, and relationships grow distant. Yet all it takes is one voice saying, "I love you, I forgive you, let's rebuild our bond," and the walls of distance begin to fall. Silence creates separation, but the voice builds connection. That is the gift of your words. They can rebuild bridges that silence has broken. Even in society, great leaders were not always the most powerful with money or weapons. They were powerful with their words. They knew how to use their voice to awaken people, to touch hearts, to call for change. Whether it was a monk speaking about compassion, a poet writing verses of hope, or a humble villager standing up for justice, their voices echoed across generations. Why? Because they aligned their words with truth, with courage, with God's light. Your voice has the same potential when it is rooted in sincerity and goodness. But here is the challenge: using your voice wisely. Not every word we speak is uplifting. Sometimes we use words to hurt, to gossip, to criticize. This is not what God intended. He gave you a voice not to create pain, but to spread healing. Words can be like seeds. You plant them into someone's mind and they grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, people will live in fear. But if you plant seeds of encouragement, people will rise with strength. So the question is, what seeds are you planting every day with your voice? Think about this in your own life. When was the last time you told someone, "I am proud of you"? When was the last time you used your voice to calm someone's pain? When was the last time you stood up and said, "This is not right, I cannot remain silent"? If you cannot remember, then perhaps you are not using this gift fully. The time to begin is now. Because every day you stay silent, you lose an opportunity to create change. And every day you choose to speak with love, you honor the gift God has placed within you. So, never underestimate your voice. Even if you think it is small, remember, a single match can light up a dark room. Your voice may be the match that lights hope in someone's heart. Your words may be the reason someone decides to keep going. Your courage to speak may become the spark that changes an entire community. God has trusted you with this power, not to waste it, but to use it. Silence may feel safe, but it is your voice that creates transformation. Speak with love, speak with truth, and speak with courage, for your voice is not just sound, it is a divine instrument for change. Silence is often praised as a virtue, but silence at the wrong time becomes a dangerous enemy. When we remain quiet in the face of injustice, unkindness, or wrongdoing, we are not neutral. We are giving strength to the very things that destroy harmony. Darkness does not need to fight hard to survive. It only needs us to stay silent. Every time we hold back our words, when truth is needed, every time we choose comfort over courage, we unknowingly feed the shadows around us. Think of a room filled with darkness. It is not the darkness that is strong, it is only the absence of light. The moment you light even a single candle, the entire atmosphere changes. But what happens when the candle refuses to shine, when it hides its flame in silence? The darkness stays, not because it is powerful, but because the light chose not to act. Our silence works in the same way. We are the candles, and our voice is the flame. If we remain quiet, we allow negativity to spread. If we speak, we scatter the darkness. This truth reveals itself in daily life. In schools, a child may be bullied. Everyone around sees it, but no one speaks. The teacher stays silent, the classmates turn away, even the child's friends look down because they fear being the next target. In that silence, the bully grows stronger and the victim grows weaker. But imagine if even one voice spoke, "Stop, this is not right." That courage would inspire others to join in, and the power of the bully would vanish. The bully's strength was never real, it was only built on the silence of others. In workplaces, you may find people treated unfairly. Maybe an employee is overlooked. Maybe someone is disrespected. Maybe dishonesty is allowed. Everyone sees it, but silence covers the room. People tell themselves, "It is not my problem." But silence is never innocent. Silence says, "I accept this." And soon, the wrong behavior becomes the culture. Darkness thrives because no one switched on the light of truth. But when one person decides to speak honestly, to raise their voice with integrity, a shift begins. Others feel the courage to stand with them, and suddenly the whole environment begins to change. Even in families, silence encourages distance. A misunderstanding may happen, harsh words may be exchanged, or feelings may be hurt. Instead of speaking and clearing the heart, people remain silent. Days pass, weeks pass, and silence builds a wall higher and higher. Love is still there, but darkness fills the space between. If one person had spoken, if one voice had said, "Let us sit together, let us understand each other," the wall could have been broken. Silence allowed the darkness of ego and pain to stay alive. But a few words of humility could have brought light back into the relationship. History also teaches us this lesson. Many great wrongs in the world were not caused by a handful of people doing evil, but by millions staying silent. When society remains quiet, when people think, "It is not my responsibility," darkness becomes powerful. But the moment a few courageous voices rise, change begins to spread like wildfire. Whether it was voices against injustice, voices for freedom, or voices for compassion, it was always the breaking of silence that ended suffering. This shows us that our silence is never just ours, it shapes the world around us. Now, let us look within. How often have we seen something unfair, but said nothing? How often have we witnessed someone in pain, but offered no words of comfort? How often have we known the truth in our heart, but let fear chain our tongue? Each of these silences creates a ripple that encourages darkness. God gave us the ability to speak for a reason. To waste this power in fear or laziness is to deny the purpose of our voice. Darkness does not ask for permission to grow, it only asks us to stay quiet. It waits for our silence. It whispers, "Do not interfere. Stay in your comfort. Let others handle it." But the truth is, when we stay silent, we are the ones who are handling it by allowing it to continue. The greatest strength of negativity is not its own force, but the absence of our courage. But here is the beauty: light does not need to shout. One gentle word of truth, spoken with sincerity, has more power than 1,000 screams of lies. We do not need to fight with anger, we need to speak with clarity. Silence encourages darkness, but speech guided by love and wisdom destroys it. Just like the rising sun effortlessly dissolves the night, your voice, when aligned with goodness, can dissolve the wrongs around you. So ask yourself, what kind of silence are you choosing in your life? Is it the silence that brings peace, or the silence that encourages darkness? Because there are two kinds of silence, one that calms the mind and one that hides from responsibility. The first is divine, the second is dangerous. We must know the difference. When it is time to listen, silence is wisdom. But when it is time to act, silence is betrayal. Never underestimate the impact of one voice. Never believe the lie that your words do not matter. Every time you choose to speak for what is right, you plant a seed of courage in others. Every time you remain silent in the face of wrong, you plant a seed of fear. Which seed will you plant today? God has given you the flame of voice. Use it, because the world needs your light. Remember, darkness is not powerful. It is only the absence of shining voices. Do not let your silence be the reason it survives. Courage is often misunderstood. People think it is about fighting battles, lifting heavy weights, or standing tall in front of thousands. But true courage is not found in the muscles of the body. It is found in the strength of the spirit. Courage is not measured by how loud you shout, but by how steady your heart remains in the face of fear. It is a quiet power, a sacred strength given by God that allows us to choose truth over comfort, light over darkness, and righteousness over silence. Think about a small child learning to walk. The child falls again and again, yet each time he rises with determination. What gives him this courage? It is not physical strength, because his legs are still weak. It is the strength of spirit, the inner push that says, I will not give up. That spirit comes from the divine spark placed inside each of us. In the same way, when life knocks us down, when challenges seem overwhelming, it is courage, spiritual strength, that lifts us to rise again. Courage is needed in the simplest of daily acts. Consider someone who is shy, afraid to speak in front of others. One day, their friend is insulted, and the moment calls for truth. The shy person's hands shake, their voice trembles, but still they speak up. That is not right. Please stop. That act may look small to the world, but in reality, it is monumental. That person faced fear, stepped beyond comfort, and aligned with righteousness. This is the essence of courage. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite fear. Now think of a worker in an office. Perhaps he sees dishonesty in the system, or unfair practices that hurt others. Most people stay silent because they fear losing their jobs. Yet one person decides, I cannot allow this, I must speak. This is spiritual courage. It is not easy, it may bring difficulty, but God supports those who choose integrity over fear. Real courage is guided not by ego, but by values. It is the strength to say, I will stand for what is right, even if I stand alone. Courage also shines in the personal battles of the heart. Imagine someone going through pain, disappointment, or failure. Many give up when life seems heavy, but courage whispers, try again, rise again. The courage to forgive when hurt, the courage to let go of grudges, the courage to start fresh after loss, all these are signs of spiritual strength. It is easy to carry bitterness, but it takes real courage to release it. It is easy to complain, but it takes courage to remain grateful. And gratitude in difficult times is one of the highest forms of courage, because it shows faith in God's plan even when the road is unclear. Look at the trees around us. When storms come, the wind shakes them violently. Some break, but many bend with humility and rise again once the storm passes. Their strength is not just in their branches, but in the roots deep within the earth. In the same way, courage is the root of the soul. When storms of life come, our outer world may shake, but if our inner roots are deep in God's wisdom, we bend without breaking. That is true spiritual strength. History is filled with examples of such courage. Saints, monks, and wise leaders did not always have armies or wealth, but they had an unshakable spirit. They faced criticism, rejection, even danger, yet their courage was rooted in faith. They were not afraid to be different, because they knew that standing with truth is more important than standing with the crowd. This same courage exists within us. It does not belong to the past. It is alive today, waiting for us to awaken it. Courage is not about winning every battle. It is about refusing to surrender to fear. A student preparing for exams may feel pressure, but courage pushes them to try again, even after failure. A family struggling with financial hardship may feel hopeless, but courage keeps them moving, trusting that with effort and faith, a new dawn will come. A person facing illness may feel weak, but courage keeps their heart strong, reminding them that the body is temporary, but the spirit is eternal. Each day offers us moments to practice courage. It could be as small as speaking kindly when someone is rude. It could be as big as forgiving someone who deeply hurt us. It could be starting a new journey when everyone doubts you. In each of these choices, courage is the invisible strength that guides us. It does not always roar, sometimes it whispers, "Do the right thing." And here is the most powerful truth: courage grows when you use it. Just like a muscle, the more you practice courage, the stronger it becomes. Each time you speak, when fear tells you to stay silent, your spirit becomes stronger. Each time you choose love, when ego demands revenge, your heart grows braver. Each time you stand with truth, when it is easier to hide, you build unshakable strength. So, do not wait for fear to disappear before you act. Fear may never vanish, but courage is stronger. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward with faith. God has placed within you an eternal strength that no difficulty can destroy. Trust that strength. Live by it. Use it. For courage is not just a human quality, it is a divine gift. It is the bridge that connects your small actions to God's larger plan. And when you walk that bridge, you discover that the greatest strength is not outside you, but within you, glowing silently as the courage of your spirit. Everyone wants change. People want a better world, a kinder society, a life filled with peace and happiness. Yet most of the time, we wait for others to bring that change. We blame the leaders, the system, the family, the neighbors, and even destiny. But the truth is, real change does not begin somewhere outside. It begins within us. God has placed the power of transformation inside every individual. The moment we take responsibility, the moment we stop pointing fingers and start looking inward, that is when true change begins. Think about a garden. If you walk into it and see weeds growing, flowers dying, and the soil drying up, you can stand there all day complaining about how ugly it looks. You can curse the weather, blame the gardener, or even sit and wish for rain. But none of these complaints will make the flowers bloom. The garden will only change when someone takes responsibility, picks up the watering can, and begins to nurture it. Life is just like that garden. We can either sit in silence, waiting for someone else to fix it, or we can take responsibility and water it with our actions. In daily life, this truth appears again and again. For example, in a family, perhaps communication has broken down. Parents and children no longer sit together. Everyone is glued to their phones, and love feels distant. Most people in the family will complain, "They don't give me time. They don't understand me. They don't care." But change will not come through complaints. It will come when one person takes responsibility and says, "I will be the first to sit down and talk. I will be the one to listen with patience. I will be the one to show love, even if it is not shown back immediately." That single step of responsibility can slowly melt the ice and restore warmth in the family. In society too, we see this principle. Many people talk about corruption, pollution, dishonesty, or lack of kindness. But how many of us take responsibility to live differently? We complain that the streets are dirty, yet we throw wrappers on the road. We complain that leaders are dishonest, yet we are not always honest in our own small dealings. We wish for a world of kindness, yet how often do we choose kindness ourselves? God has designed this world like a mirror. What you put into it reflects back at you. If you want the reflection to change, you must first change the way you stand before it. Responsibility is that first step. Even in personal growth, responsibility is the turning point. Many times, when people fail, they blame circumstances, destiny, or other people. I couldn't succeed because the world was unfair. I couldn't achieve my goals because others stopped me. But the moment you say, "My growth is my responsibility. I may not control everything, but I will control my effort," my discipline, my choices, you unlock the door to change. Success is not about having perfect conditions. It is about taking responsibility, even in imperfect conditions. Think of a student preparing for exams. If he spends his time saying, "The teacher did not teach well, my family did not support me, the system is unfair," then no progress will come. But if he takes responsibility, "I will study harder, I will seek help, I will put in my effort," then slowly success becomes possible. Responsibility is not a heavy burden, it is a key that unlocks freedom. Because when you accept responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, and you realize God has already given you the strength to rescue yourself. Responsibility also means not being afraid of small beginnings. Many people do not act because they think, "What difference can my small effort make?" But remember, even the ocean is made of drops. A single seed planted can grow into a mighty tree that gives shade and fruit for generations. Similarly, your small responsible actions, speaking with honesty, living with discipline, helping one person in need, can ripple outwards and inspire many others. Change is not about one big action done by someone else. It is about countless small actions done by each of us every day. There is a story of two neighbors. One complained every day about how dirty the street was. The other quietly picked up a broom and cleaned the area in front of his house. Slowly, others saw him and joined. Soon, the entire street became clean. Who created the change? Not the one who shouted for it, but the one who took responsibility for it. This is how God works. He does not ask you to carry the whole world, only to take responsibility for your part. And when each person carries their part, the world becomes lighter for all. Truth is one of the most powerful forces in the world. It has the ability to open eyes, break illusions, and guide people toward the right path. But truth on its own can sometimes feel sharp, heavy, or even painful. That is why God asks us not only to speak the truth, but to speak it with compassion. A truth spoken with anger may wound the heart, but the same truth spoken with kindness can heal the heart. Truth is medicine, and compassion is the sweetness that makes it easy to accept. Imagine a doctor giving bitter medicine. If he forces it harshly into a child's mouth, the child may spit it out or cry in fear. But if the doctor lovingly mixes it with honey, the child accepts it willingly and receives the benefit. In the same way, when we share the truth, it must be wrapped in the honey of compassion. Without compassion, truth becomes a weapon that cuts. With compassion, it becomes a light that guides. Think of daily life examples. In families, sometimes one person makes mistakes. Perhaps a teenager is careless. Perhaps a partner forgets responsibilities. If we only speak truth bluntly, "You are irresponsible, you are careless, you always fail," the person feels attacked. Instead of improving, they close their heart. But if we speak with compassion, "I know you are capable of more. I believe in you, and I want to see you grow," then the same truth inspires instead of discourages. It is not what we say, but how we say it that makes the difference. In workplaces too, this principle matters. A leader may see that an employee has done something wrong. Speaking harshly may correct the mistake temporarily, but it also lowers the employee's spirit. However, if the leader says, "I appreciate your effort, but here is how it can be done better," the person not only corrects themselves, but also feels motivated to give their best in the future. Truth guided by compassion builds people. Truth without compassion breaks them. Compassion in truth also teaches us timing and patience. Sometimes the right words at the wrong time can cause harm. For example, if someone is in deep grief after losing a loved one, and we immediately say, "It was God's will, you should accept it." The words may be true, but they are not compassionate in that moment. Compassion means waiting, holding their hand, letting them cry, and then slowly, when the heart is calmer, reminding them of acceptance. Truth without compassion is like pouring cold water on a flame. It extinguishes the spirit. Truth with compassion is like sunlight. It warms and strengthens the spirit. There is also a deep connection between compassion and humility. When we speak truth with pride, it sounds like judgment. When we speak truth with humility, it sounds like guidance. For instance, if a friend is wasting time on distractions, we can say arrogantly, "You are foolish. You will never achieve anything." Or we can say with humility,